Good afternoon. Welcome to City Council meeting for October 25th, 2022. Items listed on the agenda may be taken out of order. Two or more agenda items for consideration may be combined, and any item on the agenda may be removed or related discussion may be delayed at any time. I will call the meeting to order and ask for confirmation of the agenda posting and roll call. Madam City Clerk.
Thank you. The agenda has been posted in accordance with open meeting law, and we have member Matt Fox absent.
Thank you. We will begin with the invocation. Pastor Headland is here. Please rise, a fable.
Let's pray. Heavenly Father, we are thankful for the blessings that we enjoy as residents of this country, as residents of this community. We recognize there's an important election coming up in just 2 weeks, and so we need wisdom in our choices in the ballot box, in our mail-in votes. Most of us have opinions by now in many of the races, but in things like judgeships, it's difficult often for us to know wisely how to vote, so we pray that you would give us wisdom in these matters. Give victors in this election graciousness. May there be a willingness to compromise when that's necessary in decisions that are made following that. As citizens, as parents, as grandparents, we're concerned about recent reports about the educational results coming out of the pandemic, and we recognize that we need improvements in education. We're thankful that Boulder City generally has a better reputation than average for our schools, but even in Boulder City, there are many substitute teachers. We pray that you'd motivate young people to consider teaching as a career. So give our education officials wisdom about how to be most effective in teaching our kids. We pray for our meeting tonight. We ask that these city council members would have insight in the matters that come before it. Give them the ability to listen, to be creative in solutions that might be needed. Guide this meeting, we pray. In Jesus' name, amen.
Thank you, Pastor. We'll have the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Were there any public announcements, Madam City Clerk?
No announcements.
Thank you. We'll then have our initial public comment period. Comments during this period of time are limited to those items on the agenda for action. Each speaker will have up to 5 minutes. We will begin with anyone who is present and then take anyone wishing to call in, and then any emails that may have been submitted prior to the meeting. As always, we do ask for the speakers to be civil and concise in their comments. Is there anyone in council chambers that would like to speak in public comment? Please come forward. Ms. Frazier, if you could state your name, and I believe there's a sign-up sheet there on the podium, if you could sign in there.
Thank you. My name is Sandra Frazier. I live at 656 Avenue I, Boulder City, and I'm the president of Sea Spot Run. And I'm speaking on regards to the tin, and I'm very nervous and I apologize. In all our conversations with the city manager and Roger Hall, I was under the impression that we were going to work together, and I didn't realize that grass was the only option. So when we had our meeting, I laid out a few of my ideas that we've been talking about for the last 8 years. And I just learned tonight that grass was the only option. We are very open. If that is the only option, we will work with the city and put in grass. That's all I wanted to say. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else present that would like to speak? All right, we will take anyone wishing to call in at this time. The phone number is 702-589-9629. This is the initial public comment period for the city council meeting. Again, that number is 702-589-9629. Again, this is our initial public comment period for the city council meeting. Anyone wishing to call in, the phone number is 702-589-9629. Madam City Clerk, were there any emails received for public comment?
No comments were received.
Thank you. All right, hearing no others, we will close the public comment period and move to the approval of the regular agenda. Any changes, Madam City Clerk?
There's changes to the minutes, but they're in front of you. Oh, that's
You?
the consent.
Madam City Attorney
No changes.
and Mr. City Manager?
No changes.
Thank you. Council members, any changes for the regular agenda?
No changes.
Anyone wishing to make a motion?
I'll move to approve the regular agenda.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, now we will move to the consent agenda. Madam City Clerk, you mentioned one change on the minutes.
There are in front of you.
Thank you.
It's a minor change, thank you.
And Madam City Attorney
No changes.
and Mr. City Manager.
No changes.
Thank you. Council members, any changes for the consent agenda?
No changes.
Thank you. Anyone wishing to make a motion?
I move to approve the consent agenda as written.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Thank you. That brings us then to item number 4, annual update from the Finance Department. Mr. City Manager?
Yes, our acting finance director, Angela Mannanen, will kick off the annual update of the finance department. So I'll go ahead and turn it over to Angela.
Hello, everyone. So the finance team has prepared a short video that discusses let me start over. A brief video detailing what the team is responsible for and some of our accomplishments over the last year. Oh my goodness. But before presenting, I'd like to thank our team for the hard work, which is in direct relationship of our accomplishments and recognitions. And many of our finance team is back in the back, so I'd like to thank them because all the awards that we were recognized with was all because of their hard work. So some of these recognitions, I cannot talk to, recognitions include the financing team receiving the 31st consecutive year certification of achievement for excellence in financial reporting for fiscal year 21. We also received the Distinguished Budget Presentation Award for the last 4 consecutive years, beginning in fiscal year 20. We began publishing the popular annual finance report in fiscal year 20, which is a simplified version of the summary of the annual comprehensive financial report. All these publications are available at bcnv/finance. We also just received notice that we received the GFOA Triple Crown Award. So because in fiscal year '23, we won all 3 of those awards, we get the Triple Crown Award because we won all 3. So of the 21,000 members of the GFOA, only 317 members have ever earned this award. And of Nevada, it's only us and Henderson that have received this. So it's quite an honor. Very proud of the team and proud of finance for being able to do this. And we'll show the video. Hi, my name is Angela Mannon. I'm the Acting Finance Director for the City of Boulder City, Nevada. The Boulder City Finance Department plays a role in every activity that the city employees undertake for our citizens of Boulder City. Our roles may not be obvious, but we provide support to all city departments. As you will see in the following video, the finance team has been busy working for the residents of Boulder City and has taken to heart the challenge of improving our transparency. Our update includes a snapshot of what each finance division does for our citizens and city employees, along with our accomplishments over the last year.
The success of the finance department is due to the people who staff it and their backgrounds. The staff brings over 200 years of government experience to the team, along with 50 years of private sector experience. The team backgrounds are widely varied, with 2 certified fraud examiners, 2 certified public accountants, a former electrician, a former city planning director, and a retired Command Chief Master Sergeant who served in the United States Air Force. The Finance Department consists of 5 operational areas. They are accounting, budget management, purchasing, revenue contracts and real estate, and utility billing. Our accounting division handles our accounts receivable, accounts payable, payroll, and financial reporting. Our budget management division handles our budget preparation, monitors compliance with state and federal requirements, performs research and analysis, and monitors the budget activity throughout the year. The division is also responsible for the development of our 5-year capital improvement plan. The purchasing division handles all city purchasing, our expense contracts, including bid coordination, bid opening and award, risk management and insurance claims, grants and grant coordination, and is the city's primary contact for CARES Act and American Rescue Plan Act coordination with state and FEMA representatives. The Contracts and Real Estate Division is responsible for all revenue contracts, including city land sales and land leases. The division also assists with grants and grant coordination and financial transparency initiatives. The Utility Billing Division is responsible for reading all utility meters, utility bill preparation, bill collection, business licensing, and also functions as the city cashier. A frequently asked question about the utilities and customer base: has the recent pandemic affected the revenue stream and customer base? When comparing year-over-year data between 2020, 2021, and 2022, there is no statistically significant difference between the average number of customers, the average number of monthly late notices, or the average number of monthly delinquent accounts. In other words, 2022 performed nearly identical to 2020 and 2021. Once again, the Finance Department was the recipient of the Distinguished Budget Presentation Award for fiscal year 2021 from the Government Finance Officers Association, also known as GFOA. This is the 2nd consecutive year that the department has won this award. A goal of the GFOA is to improve financial transparency through accurate financial documents and has a very detailed list of elements needed to receive this award. The department also received the Popular Annual Financial Reporting Award for the 2nd consecutive year. The Popular Annual Financial Report, also referred to as a PAFR, provides key financial information from both the budget document and financial report in an easy-to-read format for the public. The city also received the Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Financial Reporting for the 10th consecutive year. This program was established by GFOA to encourage and assist local governments to go beyond the minimum requirements of generally accepted accounting principles to prepare annual comprehensive financial reports that evidence the spirit of transparency and full disclosure. The department was able to work with Visa and MasterCard to change our merchant code to lower merchant service fees charged to the city for each credit card transaction. The department also signed an agreement with the state of Nevada to be a water and sewer assistance program participant when the state launches that program. We have also begun adding forms to the utility billing website to allow our residents to file some applications online, such as a garage sale permit. This past year was also a year of firsts. The Finance Department brought in-house the development of our annual comprehensive financial report. Previously, that was contracted out to others to prepare. This was also the first year that the city prepared the city's annual budget into a digital interactive budget book. The budget book provides information in a variety of formats, charts, and tables to make it easier for our citizens to understand where their tax dollars are being spent. To experience our digital budget book, please visit www.bcnv.org/FY23budget. Moving forward to 2023 and beyond, the department will be taking further steps to be more fiscally responsible and transparent. We look forward to sharing those accomplishments with you.
Thank you for watching the Finance Department Update. In this upcoming year, we hope to continue improving our transparency efforts with videos such as this one. Our future efforts include assisting city departments to locate available grant opportunities to enhance our services to our community. Once again, thank you for watching. For more information about the Boulder City Finance Department, please visit our website at bcnv.org/finance.
You're gonna have to wait for him to play it out.
So thank you for watching the video. One update since the video, the state sewer and water program is available now, and the link is on our website. So even if a resident applied and has it for energy, they need to apply for the water and sewer separately.
Can you provide a little more information on what that consists of?
There's a state application, so we have a link to the application on our website. And if you qualify as a resident due to income, it's assistance with your utility bill.
The water and wastewater
Yes.
portion of it?
Where previously it was only provided to electric, so currently they've added on to water and wastewater, but it's ARPA funded, so how long the program will run is up to the state.
Thank you.
Happy to answer any questions if anyone has any.
Any questions or comments? Councilmember Jorgensen?
I just wanted to start with, that music made finance exciting. I mean, it just really got us going, so just wanted to start with that. Great job. I have said it in the past when I first got on the council, that the transparency that I notice and the things that are available for the public is wonderful, and it's pretty explanatory. Someone with a minor finance experience, such as myself initially, was able to look at it and to understand it. So, and congratulations on earning those. That's a great job, the whole team. I know it takes a lot of hands, so thank you.
Thank you. We try.
Thank you. Anyone else? Councilmember Bridges?
Yeah, I just wanted to, I love the music. No, that was great. And also, I know that there was a commitment to financial transparency when we all took office here. And what has happened in the last 3.5 years is amazing. And I also want to congratulate you all for the hard work involved in receiving those awards, you know, to get the Triple Crown. And how many did you say? 2 in Nevada?
Just us and Henderson have ever won it, so.
And how many countrywide? You in the
317,
out of
21,000.
21,000. That's amazing. Keep up the good work. Fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Adams?
Sure, I'll echo everyone else's statement. Congratulations on all the hard work. You know, from when I first came in here to where we're at now with just the way that the information is being presented, it's night and day. And I just, it really shows how much you guys really do, you know, mean when you say, you know, that you're trying to be more transparent and allowing people to see that the information was always there, but it's about presenting it in ways that makes it more easily accessible to people. So kudos to that, and I'm also very happy to hear that we'll be looking in and seeking more, you know, grant opportunities. I think we've seen recent success with that here in our community with retrofitting our lighting. And so if there are other areas in which we can, see more grant funding, that's great, making sure that those dollars are being spent right here in Boulder City. So I'm really happy to hear that. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. I also want to say congratulations on the awards. I have a couple more years on council than others. I recall a year or two before I was elected, the CIP was a Excel spreadsheet with different fonts, and yeah, it was not a good picture. So where that we are at now, I think, is a huge improvement. The Socrata program that allows the public to go in and look at specific budgets and payments has been a huge improvement, but it doesn't always work all that well. So there's a couple of errors in there. But I know that staff is working on getting that ironed out. One thing that I know you're working towards, but I mentioned this when we discussed the budget earlier this year, a consistency of reporting. When we get numbers in one format and then a few months later the format has changed, and from year to year the formats change, it does make it very difficult for myself, and I know members of the public that I've spoken with, to be able to look at, well, what's happened over the last 3 years or 5 years and how things have changed. I do understand that that change is necessary sometimes to, accommodate different needs, but it does seem that we get a different format pretty much every time we see a budget. And if we could get some consistency on that, I think it would really help in understanding the direction that the city is going in. The changes that have been made showing where revenue comes from and what projects are being done, I think also helps the public understand when we spend these dollars. We look at, for instance, RTC funding, which is one of the larger sources of funding that we get, and we look at how that's being spent, whether it was all the work on Boulder City Parkway or the different street projects that are being done. That's great, but sometimes I think folks think that we have a lot more money than we do because that money is coming in from outside. And of course, we were very fortunate, under President Trump, the CARES Act was passed. Under President Biden, the American Rescue Plan was passed. That brought in funding for projects that we need to do and will help our community, be a better place to live. But once again, that sometimes, I believe, leads our citizens to think, well, we've got nothing but money here in Boulder City. And of course, that's never the case. We still have, the lowest tax rate in the county here. We're very fortunate to have that land lease money coming in. That accounts for 40% of our budget now, approximately.
Yep.
There aren't many communities anywhere that have that type of revenue coming in from an outside source. So that helps our residents, certainly. As I say, I have seen huge improvements in how things are being done in the finance department. So again, my appreciation for all of that as well.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Thank you, Ms. Mannanen. Mr. City Manager, anything additionally on that item?
Nothing else to report. I will make note of the grant opportunities. We did form a grant committee so that as staff and at the executive team level, we're able to review all of the grants that the city is applying for and making sure that we have the proper match, things of that nature to make sure that we can follow through on our commitments for those grants with the matching funds. So we're excited about that.
Thank you. That will bring us to item number 5, which is a bill introduction. I'm waiting for the high sign. There it is. Anyone wishing to make a motion for introduction of bill number 1923?
Yeah, I would like to move to introduce bill number 1923 by title only, waive the reading.
Thank you. Bill number 1923, an ordinance of the City of Boulder City, Nevada, approving agreement number 11-1401G between the City of Boulder City and Boulder Solar 3 LLC to amend option agreement number 11-1401F by extending the timeframe to exercise the option to December 31st, 2024, and setting the option payment for calendar year 2023 to $130,000. And this bill will be considered at the November 7th, 2022 City Council meeting.
Thank you. Item number 6 is another bill introduction, bill number 1924. Again, anyone wishing to make an introduction on that bill? Councilmember Adams?
Sure, I will move to introduce Bill number 1924, waive the reading except for title.
Thank you. Bill number 1924, an ordinance of the City of Boulder City, Nevada, approving agreement number 18-1808B between the City of Boulder City and Silver Peak Solar LLC to amend option agreement number 18-1808B between the City of Boulder City and Silver Peak Solar LLC to amend option agreement by extending the time frame to exercise the option to December 31st, 2025, and setting the option payment for calendar year 2023 to $107,005. Right? Okay. And this matter will be considered at the November 7th, 2022 City Council meeting.
Thank you. We'll now move to item number 7, yet another bill introduction, bill number 1925. Councilmember Jorgensen?
I move to introduce Bill number 1925 and waive the reading except for title.
Thank you. Bill number 1925, an ordinance of the City of Boulder City, Nevada, approving agreement number 20-1903A between the City of Boulder City and Boulder Flats Solar LLC to amend option agreement number 20-1903 by extending the time frame to exercise the option to December 31st, 2024, and setting the option payment for calendar year 2023 to $192,000. And this matter will be considered at the November 7th City Council meeting.
Thank you. We now have item number 8 for matters pertaining to outside counsel. Madam City Attorney?
Thank you, Mayor. We have Police Chief Shea here to present a little information on civil asset forfeitures. I do want to also point out we do have Agnes Hanley with the Hanley Law Firm in the audience available to answer questions if the council has any for her.
Thank you. Chief Shea?
Good evening. This is a request to retain this law firm to help us with our asset forfeiture procedure. It's a rather difficult process where you basically have to sue property that has been forfeiture or for forfeiture that has been used in criminal activities under the state law. We have a backlog of these and have had a backlog of these for years, as it just overwhelms the city attorney's office in this lengthy process of paperwork. We've tried to get outside agencies to assist us with it. They're buried with their own. So we're looking at this avenue. It becomes cost neutral, as any forfeitures that are done, those assets are auctioned off or disposed of. We'll use the revenues from that to pay for this procedure. But it'll allow us to clear out, like we have vehicles in storage and other property and evidence that we would be able to get rid of. And some of it we can convert to use in the police department for the city, and some of it we would just auction off, and then it goes into a fund that has to be specifically used for whatever type of enforcement we seized that property under.
Thank you. Any questions or comments? Councilmember Adams?
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you for bringing this forward. I think this is an excellent idea for the city. As far as start time, is this something that, we'll be able to move forward with, once, if we should pass this?
We're ready to start. We'll pass it through the city attorney's office, so I believe we're ready.
Sure. Essentially, if this is approved tonight, the police department and myself would then work with the Hanley Law Firm to assess what assets that we can start seeking to move through the civil forfeiture process, and we can start right away.
Great, I like to hear that. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Chief, can you describe what the proceeds from these forfeitures can be used for under the law?
Most of the assets that we receive are related to narcotics or narcotics trafficking. So those have to go into a fund that support those operations. So any equipment, we can pay for a whole number of things under that statute that directly related to that. There are some vehicles that we have that were bought many, many years ago with previous forfeitures. When those are auctioned off, that money has to go back into that fund. So it's restricted on how you can do it. We have two different kinds. We have some through the state, which we do, and there are some that we've done in partnership with the federal government that are through a federal program. Those are exclusive. The federal ones are exclusive of this process. It's only those we do through the state process. The federal government handles all of the federal stuff.
Okay, but, just to clarify, any funds that are derived from this are dedicated to law enforcement purposes.
Exactly. They're restricted on what we can use them for, even within law enforcement. There are certain things we can and cannot do with them, so we have to stay within those guidelines. And Lieutenant Healing is the person that monitors all that and makes sure we stay within, because they're always changing. There's always modifications coming to the NRS, and you got to be very careful to do it right and do it properly. Hence, we want the law firm to make sure we are doing it correctly and properly. And not everything qualifies for the forfeiture process. Some does, some doesn't. And in some cases, the judges will find that they're not going to grant it, but it still allows us to dispose of the property even if it doesn't go through the forfeiture. And holding on to this property for years serves nobody. We want to get it expedited one way or the other. Either return it to the owner if that's where the court determines it goes, or it's forfeited and goes through either a process where it's auctioned off and we take the proceeds and put it into the proper funds, or we convert it to use internally.
All right, thank you. Anyone else? Anyone wishing to make a motion then regarding Resolution 7535? Member Bridges?
Yes, thank you. I move to accept resolution number 7535.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? That passes unanimously. Brings us to item number 9, which is a resolution 7461 and 7536, repealing 7461. Mr. City Manager?
Yes, our Administrative Services Director, Bryce Bullitt, will be handling this item. So this is implementation of the classification and compensation study, recommended pay plans for non-represented employees. This, I'll let Bryce explain this, but essentially it gives the city the ability to have a hiring range instead of one flat dollar amount for employees. So, Bryce?
He stole all my thunder. But probably the biggest benefit of this resolution, should it pass, would be the flexibility of recruitment and retention. We can offer salaries more in line with the applicant's experience. If it's they're coming in with very little experience, our new minimum would address that. If they come in with more experience, we could hire somewhere within this range. And the city manager is dedicated that he won't hire above the mid-range at any point in time. So that flexibility, I think, will help us. And it's addressed for the non-represented employees, and we have a few title changes that more clearly represent the duties and responsibilities. Are there any questions I can answer?
Thank you. Any questions or comments? Councilmember Bridges?
Yeah, I just have a question from the staff report. It said financial, one position will receive a 9-cent per hour increase, resulting in a current fiscal year expense of $124.80. That is the only effect this will have on our budget or on our finances in terms of accepting this document.
Yes, ma'am. The other classifications and positions fit within ranges that were a part of this.
Okay, great, thank you. That, I wasn't sure if that was an example or that was an absolute.
That was the absolute.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? I do want to, clarify a little bit. We are in the process of employee contracts that have expired, negotiating new ones. So while this is the overall guidelines for positions, we have not yet seen the proposals that may be implemented that are most assuredly going to result in increases in revenue going to pay. Is that correct?
That is correct, sir.
Okay. Something that I think is important to recognize about this, not only does it give some flexibility to the city manager to evaluate someone coming in and applying for a position based on their experience, but I think it's more reflective of how things are done in the private industry as well, that there is no just one set pay for a certain job. As with most jobs, when you come into a job, you usually start out at a lower pay level, and based on your performance, you're then rated and have an opportunity to increase in that. If that person then subsequently retires or moves to another position, the next person coming in will be evaluated based on their skills and experience as well, rather than the person who's leaving that position.
Absolutely.
All right.
And just one other thing to add. So every year, the city brings the pay plan, and staff brings the pay plan, and each amount goes up every year. So the intent would be these ranges would not always be changing. They would always be evaluated for market conditions, but the idea would be someone would, over their career, move up the range with their annual increases. So this will allow people to have that range.
Right, it does provide an incentive for them to grow in the position that they're in, which, again, I think that's the way positions should go.
Agreed.
Any other questions or comments? Anyone wishing to make a motion repealing Resolution 7461 and approving Resolution number 7536? Councilmember Adams?
Thank you. I move that we repeal resolution number 7461 and approve resolution number 7536.
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
We'll now move to item number 10, regarding a dog park survey. Mr. City Manager?
Good evening, Mayor and council members. So as you know, residents have expressed the desire to have grassy areas available for exercising their animals. There are existing city-owned grass turf areas that are underutilized and could be established as a dog park here in Boulder City. On May 10th of this year, the City Council did direct staff to move forward designating a dog park at Veterans Memorial Park Softball Field 3. We heard some resident feedback and feedback from the Little League organization, and on the June 13th, 2022 council meeting, the City Council decided that would not be designated as a dog park and requested two items. So one, that the Parks and Recreation Commission take a look at the recommendation and make a recommendation to the council, as well as public engagement. So on June 16th, 2022, the dog park survey was posted to the city website. And as of August 8th, when the survey closed, we had 425 responses, and that was nearly double the responses we received on how to spend the ARPA funds. So it was a very good turnout on the survey. The Parks and Recreation Commission reviewed this item on August 22nd at their regular meeting, and they recommended that the City Council work with the nonprofit C Spot Run. Two things. So when the survey released, the ARPA funding had not been allocated yet, and $50,000 was allocated to Sea Spot Run for improvements to their park, and I know they are working on that. And I'll go ahead and move to my PowerPoint presentation. So the survey results did show residents in favor of the proposed 0.81 acre parcel that's located at the Veterans Memorial Park for a grassy dog park. So let's take a look. So this is the proposed area that was identified. It's near the restrooms by the model boat fishing pond out at Veterans Park. It is existing grass, so this is an area, parks are exempt from the turf removal rules, but trying to save water just as an organization holistically, this would most likely be an area that could have been removed, but it could also be repurposed as a municipal dog park. So moving on to the survey results, I'll briefly go over these. So of the respondents, 77% said yes, they do own a dog. And then do they use the existing park in Boulder City? 63% of the respondents said no. However, 34% said yes, and they said 13% was the highest for using it rarely. 68% of respondents did support a new off-leash fenced dog park in Boulder City. And the top items that they were looking for in such a dog park were cleanliness, maintenance, grass, people and dog water fountains, as well as shaded areas. So there were also 3 items least needed for a successful dog park, and they felt that items least needed were location away from housing, dog amenities, and security cameras. And then we also asked the question, would you support a dog park being in several of the parks? And the top responses were Veterans Memorial Park at nearly 70%, ABC Park at 40%, and Oasis Park at 40%. As well, there were write-in comments. So there were a lot of different comments in the write-in comments, but some people said, I think the new plan is a great plan, go for it. I think the proposed location is a great option. I think a grass dog park is a fantastic idea. I do not use the existing park because it's not grassy. There were also a lot of comments that said, work with the existing dog park, Sea Spot Run. And there were also concerns over the elevation. However, there is, a lot of the area is fairly level. So I've also included a handout in front of you of some recent pictures from today of the park. One of the items that we had discussed included the shape of the area. That could be altered. We have not ordered the fence yet, but I'm here for any questions and looking forward to your discussion.
Thank you. Questions or comments? Councilmember Adams?
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, I think, I guess just to get to the point as far as, the desire for grass, I think everybody here on council was pretty, clear that we don't want to be planting new turf, that is just inappropriate during this time. So we were looking for underutilized areas. So this does meet that. On the other hand, I do see the obvious desire to want to work with our existing dog park. We're not trying to compete, between dog parks here, but I think we've seen that people really do have a desire for a shaded, grassy area for which they can exercise their pets. So with regards to this particular plot, I think, what you mentioned there as far as the shape goes, I don't really see there being a necessity for us to have this fish hook shape. It seems that we could include the trees in the area, make it more of an ovoid shape, more like a oval. Just more holistic. You capture that entire area, then you just really need to fence off that perimeter rather than fencing off around a kind of a bizarre shape that doesn't, in my mind, doesn't seem to make a whole lot of sense. So that would be my my input as far as the appropriateness of the area and how it should be utilized. So those are my comments at this time.
Thank you. Anyone else? Councilmember Jorgensen?
Yes, thank you for the information. I find it interesting that it was one of our best surveys that we put out when we consider all the surveys that we put out. So I also found it interesting that 77% own dogs. So that's a huge population in our community, probably, of dog owners. And so there is a great need. We as a municipality don't have a dog park at all yet. I think that's one thing that we were looking at. I recognize the recommendation to work with See Spot Run, and I feel thankful that we were able to give them $50,000. I really do, because I think they serve and have served us as a community when we have not had any other option, and I am thankful for that. I did listen tonight where she said she was willing to plant grass. I understand James's talk about not wanting to plant new grass. I know that we can. When it's used in parks, it can be planted. So you'd have to weigh those two options, right? Because we have a drought restriction right now. As far as my question, as far as the hook shape, I know that at one time, and correct me if I'm wrong, we talked about splitting that into at least two different pieces for a smaller dog type or a larger dog type. Is that part of why it's a hook shape?
That is still part of the plan. It doesn't play into the hook shape, however. That is actually, if you look at the handout, there's some photos of the tree area. That was to avoid some of the trees, but we actually could fence those in. But the plan is still to have a small, medium area and then a large dog area.
Well, maybe also implementing those trees would provide natural shade.
Correct.
And give that opportunity. So just a thought on that too. So, thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Bridges?
Yes, that is kind of a quandary in terms of, I remember when we first moved here and we would take our dog over to that event area and it was gravel and it was hot. And I kept thinking, wouldn't it be great if they put in grass? And that was 10 years ago. And my concern is planting grass where we don't currently have turf. And I know the concern about the synthetic grass is it does get very hot, which is fine. You put shade over it and you can put material under it. You still have to wash it too. And I love the idea of having this. I love the idea including the trees, because that does create a natural shade environment. What I don't like, and I guess really concerns me, is to feel that there's a rift or some kind of disagreement on, public versus, I mean, they are their own entity, a 501c3 to which the city leases land to them. And this would be a municipal dog park. And do we want to change that? I think it's a tough decision. I really do. I know I love the idea of this and using a park area that's already been established. That would be my preference. But I know that there's, it makes me uncomfortable. There's this conflict between what the city wants to do and what the director of the See Spot Run would like to do and have. And
Sure. So let me give a little bit of an overview. I did just learn of this today, but I met with leadership from the 501c3 organization, once in my office on a smaller group setting, and then with all of our various departments that would be affected with, working on the dog park, things, Parks and Rec, Public Works, communications, and we did discuss some of their priorities. They're a great group of people, great organization, and try very hard. And they're interested in being a good steward of resources and want to go forward with artificial turf and keeping the area like it is, and shade structures, things of that nature, which I applaud them at that. But I understood that the residents and the feedback from the council from our last meeting was that a grassy area with existing grass was what you were looking for. So if there was any confusion, I do apologize.
No, I wasn't, my comment wasn't about confusion. Mine was just, concern that there's, that it's difficult to work together in an environment like that because you do have a nonprofit that has donors and they have a commitment for the betterment of the 501c3, and that we have been talking about a municipal dog park for this amount of time. So I'd like to see, an area that was grassy already, and when we're dealing with a drought, not having to plant new sod.
And essentially the $72,000 that's allocated from the ARPA funds, the fencing has not been purchased yet, so we can change the area or change the direction. It's a policy decision.
So 72,000 would be for the fencing and shade structure.
Correct, and it would be turnkey, all done.
All done.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Jorgensen?
Thank you. I thought I saw in there also like agility. So there's a few other things, right? There's water available, there's things available also included in that idea?
Correct. So a few agility pieces for dogs to have some, I suppose, cognitive stimulation to go through the agility courses, and then dog person water fountain.
Thank you. This is a situation that has been around for quite some time. There have been different attempts to have a dog park here in Boulder City. It's actually surprising to me that never occurred before, at least something that the city had. Ballparks had been used in the past. Certainly, we had many recommendations from the community and also from council members as far as possibilities for this. It's overdue, I believe, and I don't see a conflict with See Spot Run. That organization has run that. The city's handing them $50,000 in addition to the work that's being proposed on this other parcel there at Veterans Park. So as far as a conflict, I don't see it. I don't see how either one is in conflict. I believe they're complementary. I know myself, I had spoken with the folks from See Spot Run years ago as far as what the city might be able to do to assist them, and never received anything back from them as far as, well, we want to do this or we want to do this and we've got an estimate on these costs. So we never really saw anything about that $50,000. It was just an amount that was given to them. They said they can use it. That's great that they can do that, but I don't see how it impacts what we're doing as far as creating something for the city that the residents have made clear they would like to have. I think, Parks and Rec, the attempts they've made in the past were not adequate, using ball fields and then stop using ball fields, and that just wasn't something that was occurring. But with this under city management, I think we do get something that the residents can say, you know what, if this isn't working, well, then they know who to go talk to. I certainly heard from a lot of folks as different things were being proposed as far as what they were interested in. You know, with C Spot Run, they immediately, you know, before any action was taken, before any timeline was set out for doing anything, had stated that they were shutting their facility down if we were considering doing something. You know, that's up to them. They are a 501c3 and can make decisions on their own. But we shouldn't be in that position to say an organization is simply not going to provide a service that is the basis for having that land leased to them at no cost or minimal cost. So I think we should absolutely go forward with this. I agree with what Councilmember Adams had indicated, that the shape of this park probably needs to be in such a way that there's not a lot of unused fencing there or unnecessary fencing. The suggestions of having separate parks for large animals and small animals. I know I was talking with somebody from the Parks and Rec Commission today, and they had mentioned being able to shut down portions of the park to allow the grass to heal or, you know, be overseeded or whatever it is. So there may actually need to be 3 areas of the park, small, large, and under renovation or being brought back up to standard. But I'll leave that to, I think that's best handled by the landscape division. We have, you know, people that know how to grow grass here very well. So I think that's something that they can look forward to. But the other thing about all of this is we need to get dogs on leashes that are at large. And that really is how all of this came up. So we're providing a place now for people to take their animals to. As far as people having animals in the other parks, they're certainly welcome to do that. But those animals need to be on leashes, because what I hear from residents is they don't use our parks because they're afraid of being bitten or run into or knocked down, or having their own animals attacked by dogs that are running loose. So that absolutely needs to be followed up on, as far as you now have 2 places you can go to and allow your dog to get exercise. It was mentioned we're going to have some doggy toys and exercise equipment down there. That's great. But the bigger focus needs to be that we allow our other residents to be able to enjoy the parks here while we have provided some place to allow dogs to be off leash. So I'm certainly in favor of going ahead with the recommendations that you've made. And Councilmember Jorgensen is correct. This is a large number of responses, but still only about half of the ones that we had for historic preservation a couple of years ago. So are you looking for a motion or just input from us?
Yes, a motion, and if you'd like to have the back side of the property rounded off, just include that change in the motion.
I would make a motion then to move forward as recommended with you as far as closing the property off, as Councilmember Adams had indicated, and also providing for separate areas of the park for animals of different sizes. Anyone wishing to second that? Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Thank you, Mr. City Manager. Our next item, item number 11, is regarding an appointment for the Civil Service Commission. Madam City Clerk.
Thank you. We have one appointment available on the Civil Service Commission, and per City Charter Section 68, requires the commission consist of 3 citizens, not more than 2 of whom shall at any time belong to the same political party. The 2 current members that are active belong to the Republican Party and Independent Party, and these terms are 3-year staggered terms. So basically, any of the applicants that you have before you could be selected.
Thank you. I know that the current member, Mr. Hunt, has indicated interest in being reappointed. I would be willing to nominate Mr. Hunt for reappointment. Anyone else wishing to make a nomination for this position? All those in favor of reappointing Mr. Hunt?
I'll second that.
Thank you. All those in favor of reappointing Mr. Hunt, please raise your hand. And that's unanimous. Mr. City Manager, item number 12.
Yes, so with our new agenda software, we have two separate items now for the city manager's report. So item 12 is the financial report for the period ending September 30th, 2022, and I have nothing of note to report on that.
Thank you. Any questions regarding the financial report? All right. Item 13 would be the claims paid report, Mr. City Manager.
Yes, so tonight we have the claims paid for September 2022, and there is nothing unusual.
Again, any questions regarding the claims paid report? Thank you, Mr. City Manager.
Thank you.
That will bring us to our last public comment period. Public comment during this may be on any issue. Speakers will have up to 5 minutes to speak, and as always, we ask people to be civil and concise. Is there anyone present that would like to speak during public comment? All right, anyone wishing to call in may do so at this time. The phone number is 702-589-9629. Again, this is our final public comment period for City Council meeting. The number is 702-589-9629. This is the final public comment period for the City Council meeting. Anyone wishing to call in, the phone number 702-589-9629. Madam City Clerk, were there any emails received for the final public comment period?
Yes, I received 2 written comments.
Please go ahead.
The first is from Andre Haynes. This public comment is provided by Andre Haynes, founder and CEO of the Armed Forces Chamber of Commerce. Everyone is invited to an Armed Forces Chamber business mixer sponsored by Patsy Brown on Wednesday, November 16th at the Boulder City Library. Armed Forces Chamber business mixers sponsored by Patsy Brown include a special presentation, swearing in of new members, updates, contests plus prizes, and much more. Armed Forces Chamber business mixers sponsored by Patsy Brown feature an hour of networking starting at 3 p.m. and a brief program starting at 4 p.m. Armed Forces Chamber business mixers sponsored by Patsy Brown are open to the public and admission is free. For details, visit armedforceschamber.com. Again, visit armedforceschamber.com. The next public comment was submitted by Keith Brown. Palm trees add a certain aesthetic quality to the area, enhancing the views for all nearby. The recent massive expenditures on palm trees by local government entities along the roads and parks within Boulder City show that it is not only an accepted view, but also a reasonable endeavor. In light of the recent rash of palm trees being unreasonably obliterated, cut down by mean-spirited, litigious means, especially those against recently widowed homeowners, it is suggested that Boulder City designate all palm trees as designated trees by enacting a designated tree ordinance, offering protection to the palm trees that still manage to stand tall, not only enhancing property values, but offering a spectacular contrast, complementing our beautiful desert views. Trees can be designated such if the trees have a historical aspect, enhance aesthetic value, or are themselves endangered or provide some kind of livelihood to an endangered life form. Once enacted, unless it is for safety reasons, removal or topping of any palm tree within Boulder City must have the approval of the City of Boulder City, any HOAs if applicable, and the palm tree owner. And that's it for reports.
Thank you. All right, hearing no others then, we will close the final public comment period and move to city council reports. Councilmember Adams?
Thank you, Mayor. There was no Southern Nevada Water Authority this month. However, this Thursday, we do have a Southern Nevada Health District meeting. As far as the public hearing item that we will be hearing, we will be discussing business impact statement for proposed food regulations. Again, that's just the business impact statement. It's not the changes itself at this time. And then we also will be having a presentation on behavioral health services for youth within the Southern Nevada area. So those are the items that we will be discussing on Thursday.
Thank you. Councilmember Jorgensen?
Yes, I've attended none this past 2 weeks.
Thank you. Councilmember Bridges?
Two things. First of all, as usual, emergency aid is available to assist residents of Boulder City who are dealing with an emergency and need assistance with rent or utilities or some food. So you call ahead and make an appointment and they will help you out there. The other I was going to report on was something I got to do today, but I figured the mayor would want to talk about it, the groundbreaking for the Healing Center. So that's it.
Thank you. And again, I appreciate that, Councilmember Bridges. There was a ceremony at St. Jude's Ranch this morning regarding the groundbreaking on that healing center that they have been planning for some time now. You know, the CEO there, Christina Vela, has been working extremely hard on this for a number of years. The idea of this is it's going to be a very secure facility that will treat some, at least initially, girls that have been trafficked and have suffered severe trauma. They believe, and I certainly believe that they are going to work on that, that they will be able to provide a safe haven for these girls. St. Jude's Ranch has been here in Boulder City for 56 years, and that has always been their mission, was to take children in and provide a safe environment for them. I didn't count up all of the donations they listed, but they are getting millions of dollars in private support to do this, to move that forward. Again, I think it's going to be something that people in Boulder City can be thankful for, but it also reflects the origins of Boulder City. People came here to get a chance to improve their lives, and I think that's what's going to happen there.
I did want to add one thing to that. I was amazed. Clark County School District is going to build a school on the property just for these kids, which I think $5 million, I believe that's what the superintendent said. It's an amazing, amazing opportunity for these folks.
Yes, and the point of that will be to have that school there, provide instruction specifically to these girls. but also as a victim who's done quite a bit of work in her recovery had mentioned, these girls probably aren't going to want to be in a typical school setting. And so to give them that opportunity where they can get an education as well as the other services there, rather than being put into our public high school. And there are plans to transition these girls depending on, their progress once they're there. But yes, Clark County School District obviously is behind this effort, and again, the whole focus is to work with these girls who have suffered a great deal. A couple of other notes of mine. Early voting has started up here in Clark County and will be available here in Boulder City starting next Tuesday, I believe. We do have a drop box here at City Hall. People can bring their mail ballots in. You can drop your mail ballot in the mailbox. There are a number of ways to vote. Election Day is November 7th. I certainly encourage people to do that. We are better when we vote. I would note that our next council meeting, yes, November 8th, did I say the wrong date? Because I had November 7th on my mind for the next note. Our council meeting will be on November 7th. Rather than Tuesday, it will be Monday, November 7th, because of Election Day. So we're moving that back one day. We're coming up on Halloween here on Monday. Please watch out for the kids. They're more interested in getting to the next house than they are you driving down the street, so keep an eye out for them. I went yesterday and had my COVID booster and my flu shot. This is the time to do that. We're seeing these things increase around town, and no effects, no ill effects. I don't believe I have any radio transmitters floating around in me. So please consider getting that. It's important. We don't want to see us fall back on these illnesses causing harm to our community again. So they're free, whether you have insurance or not. I went to CVS. You can make your appointment online. I was in and out within 20 minutes. So please consider doing that. Staff, thank you for preparing for the meeting. And with that, we are adjourned. Thank you.